Welcome in to the Gress podcast here on this Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2022, episode 9, the Super Bowl champion Matthew Stafford edition, coming to you. And obviously going to be breaking down the Super Bowl that was played yesterday with the Rams getting their second Super Bowl in franchise history and leaving the Bengals still searching for that all-inclusive Vince Lombardi trophy that they've been to twice before now, 0-3. And we'll just get right into it. Obviously, you got to give credit to the Rams. We talk about in sports all the time, holding people accountable, telling the truth, having difficult conversations, and being honest with each other. And I think it started to really appear towards the end last year when Sean McVay finally realized that Jared Goff wasn't the guy. They stopped lying to each other, and it was really telling that in that playoff game against the Seahawks when they started John Wolford, who instead of Stafford, who was healthy, because when Wolford went out, that's the only reason Goff got in and played is because Wolford went out with a concussion. Goff actually was able to lead him to victory, and it wasn't much with him. It was more so of their strong running game and attack and a good defense by the Rams that were able to get them on to the next round. And I think that game against the Packers, which was obviously Goff's last game he played for the Rams, was when McVay, Kroenke, the owner, GM Les Snead, they all sat down and said, look, we have the team, we have the talent around the quarterback position to win a Super Bowl, but the thing that is holding the Rams back the most was the quarterback. So they mortgaged the entire team, their draft, traded for Stafford to the Lions, who up to now, obviously it's been clear and talked about is how he didn't have a playoff win, had the stats, obviously was a great quarterback in Detroit, but just was never able to overcome the struggles that Detroit has consistently had, overcome the drama that's been in Detroit forever. It's caused a lot of great players to leave, whether it be a Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, now Matt Stafford, and other players that aren't quite that caliber, but some really other good ones. Darius Slay comes to mind. But it was a great job by Snead, McVay, Kroenke, all working together and trying to get that deal done to basically get to the top, find a way, and at the end of the day, they're holding up a Lombardi trophy. And it's obviously a big risk. There were times, especially about midway through the year, where it wasn't looking good for the Rams, but they were able to find a way, break through, and get over that hump finally that has been challenging them for the past, ever since McVay got there. And I've talked about it in previous podcasts. You can't go without saying the culture that those three, especially McVay, has built. It goes without saying because the amount of talent they've accumulated, the guy going after a Jalen Ramsey, signing an OBJ, trading for Von Miller, going out signing Andrew Whitworth, the leadership that McVay has shown as the head coach, and then it's also filtered into the players where they've gone out and gotten stars, and you've seen it in other times where teams have gone out and gotten the superstar talent, but you have yet to see it really maximize that, where McVay's gotten guys to buy in, gotten them to sacrifice for the betterment of the team, understanding that if these superstar players were able to sacrifice some of the things they've been able to do and do it for the betterment of the team, it's going to pay off and ultimately hoisting up a Lombardi trophy. And Odell Beckham Jr. said it a couple of weeks ago in an interview, and Andrew Whitworth talked about it when he's talking to the guys on the NFL Network last night after the Super Bowl. OBJ said it when, I don't remember the exact quote, but he said it's like being at the Pro Bowl but strict at the same time. And watching the interviews that all these Rams players had, it really speaks to the culture they have over there in Los Angeles, where all the players, they all talked about how happy they were for everybody else. It wasn't about their success. They were, whether it be Whitworth, Donald, Von Miller, Stafford, McVay, all those guys going talking about how happy they were for their teammates. It wasn't about them, it was for the team, and how happy they were that they were able to accomplish it together. And you hear about it all the time too, where coaches will say the teams with the best chance of winning titles are the teams that are led by players in the locker room. Obviously, McVay has a strong hold of that team, but I think the biggest voices players rally around and listen to are the other players and the leaders on that team, whether it be a Whitworth, Stafford, Kupp. Even you could probably say Odell. I think the guy, he obviously gets a bad rap, but you always hear about how hard he works. And whether along with Aaron Donald, Kupp, all those guys, all the best leaders on that team are the hardest workers. And it goes to show that McVay puts a lot of trust in the players to hold them accountable. And like I said, they're hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. And a game that wasn't pretty, I would say. It was definitely felt like a slugfest. I thought the Bengals had a really good game plan. They were able, for the most part, right away to kind of neutralize Donald. Burrow did a good job of getting the ball out quick. They were able to establish a running game in that first half. But at the end of the day for the Bengals, their inability to protect Burrow, allowing 7 sacks, and I looked it up too. Burrow was sacked 70 times in the regular season and postseason, and at some point it's going to come back to bite you. It obviously did here in biggest stage. That's obviously going to be a point of emphasis for the Bengals this offseason. And the difference in this game was the Rams playmakers, when they had to make plays, they found ways to make them, make a difference, make big plays. Whether it was Cooper Kupp on 4th and 1, Stafford that last drive when they needed it, him and Kupp both combining for it, and just finding ways to get it done. That last drive, and up until that point, the Rams, I thought, they kind of, where you see a lot of people on Twitter and questioning why the Rams kept running the ball, and where they weren't having much success. But in that final drive, whether it be Akers, who was able to get a big run to get a first down to set up that final touchdown sequence, Cooper Kupp on that 4th and 1, that was mainly why I think McVay stuck with the run and why he was so consistent, because it developed that mental toughness to a team that you're going to need to get over the hump, win that Super Bowl, where if he could have kept throwing it, but he knew that if he was able to stick with the run, and it wasn't easy, it was tough sledding. The Bengals defensive line played incredible. They still were able to get pressure on Stafford. They were able to sack him. But McVay's consistent commitment to the run game helped propel them to set up that final sequence. And I know people are going to talk about the officiating, which was not great. It wasn't. Officials kept their flags in their pocket for most of the game, and then that final drive, which obviously you can talk about the Burrow throw to T. Higgins, where Higgins got away with an assault on the face mask of Ramsey. Obviously, I don't know how you don't call that. Ref probably must not have been in a good enough position to see it, where I don't think he was favoring one team or the other, but that's an obvious one that they're going to talk about. But then the final sequence where the Rams were driving, and then it got to that 3rd and 1 or 3rd down, close to that. Obviously, it resulted in a penalty that gave the Rams new life. I saw and Collinsworth talked about it on the broadcast where he said, I'm curious to see how they find a way to getting Kupp in motion, try to get a good favorable matchup, and well, they did, because it wasn't a catch, but you can talk about it being a ticky-tack call, which it probably was, but also at the same time, right before that play should have never happened because it was a false start on the entire Rams offensive line, which for some reason the refs decided all postseason, it wasn't just this game, it was a number of games that I saw, and most people did, that for some reason this postseason, the officials just didn't call false starts. And it was mind-boggling to me because that one was a pretty obvious one, and it seems like nobody was talking about it all game. They just talk about the pass interference on Logan Wilson, which it was, yes, like I said earlier, it was ticky-tack, but at the same time, that falls down on coaching where if you see Cooper Kupp on a linebacker one-on-one, you take a timeout and you make some adjustment to where that does not happen. Because you can't expect the linebacker, no matter how good he is, to be one-on-one against the best receiver in football, the offensive player of the year, who, when you have that, you're just asking for something. You can't expect a linebacker to be covering the best receiver in football, which you give credit to McVay for finding that and making it a point of emphasis to get that adjustment to where it was either going to be a catch or they got the penalty and it set up that final drive. So it was a ticky-tack call, yes, like I said. I kind of sound like a broken record, but at the same time, you can't let the best receiver in football be matched up one-on-one with a linebacker. It's that simple. And the game wasn't over then. The Bengals still had time, and they were having a good drive, and the play on 2nd and 1 that they tried a shot play, which I don't disagree with, but when you looked at it, Ramsey was playing 10 yards off Chase, and realistically what should have been done is Burrow should have noticed that he played okay. He didn't play his best game. It was probably one of his worst games that he's played since the latter half of the season. And he missed Burrow. He missed the 4th and 1 on their first drive. He missed a wide open Higgins on the sideline, trying to force it to Chase, and that play where he took the shot to Jamar Chase, he should have just made a call and just signaled something that him and Chase have done, where it's just a quick get the first down, take what you can, and there was a lot of room where he could have made a guy miss. Ramsey, who plays very aggressive and is prone to giving up big plays, all you got to do is make the guy miss, and who knows, he's definitely in a spot to put them in field goal range for sure, and who knows if maybe puts them back in the lead. But that's something that Burrow is still young, still will watch this film and learn from it, and he gets put in that spot again. I expect him to, and like most people do, expect him to learn from it, and when he sees that situation again, to capitalize on it. And that brings me into my next point too, with people are obviously talking about, Bengals are a young team, expect them to be back there, and I hope it's not a Dan Marino situation. This is almost feels very similar to Dan Marino's situation, who got to the Super Bowl in his second year, lost to the 49ers, and never got back there. And this almost, I don't want to say it is, and I hope I'm wrong, because I do enjoy, I love watching Burrow play. I love his leadership. I love the way he just has that moxie about him, that confidence, that swagger that a quarterback needs to get to the Super Bowl and play at the level he has been playing at. But man, in the AFC, the way it is set up, you've got Mahomes, you've got Josh Allen, you've got Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be a battle. Definitely has established himself, I think, as the best quarterback in the AFC North. I expect him and Lamar to have some battles over the next few years for who's going to reign over the AFC North. Obviously, Steelers, Browns have to figure out their situation with the quarterback. But, man, looking at it, it's just going to be a meat grinder of an AFC because, like I said, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, Mac Jones, all those guys are going to be a tough out. And got to find ways. Obviously, the biggest point of emphasis is trying to improve that offensive line. If they're able to improve the offensive line, I think they're definitely going to be putting themselves in that conversation to be a constantly at the top with the Mahomes, Allens, Lamars, Herberts of the world. And it'll be interesting. So, obviously, it's a long off season. And definitely, Burrow's going to be sitting there thinking about everything that he could have done better in the Super Bowl along with the rest of the Bengals. Game, like I said, it was a little bit kind of a lull, but it had a very exciting finish. Obviously, happy for Stafford, happy for Aaron Donald, happy for McVay, all those guys. Unfortunate for Odell. It was reported today that he did tear his ACL. And it stinks because he was having a great year. He looked like he finally found his fit and his niche playing with the Rams, playing under McVay. And I expect the Rams to go and re-sign Von Miller and Odell. They've got $40 million of free cap space after not having with Goff and Gurley. And I can't remember who the other one coming off their books is this year. One of their other higher paid players that's no longer with them coming off the books. So they'll have the cap space to take them. And Odell did say he would be willing to take a pay cut to stay with the Rams, which you can't blame him. And I think Von Miller would too. He's got 2 Super Bowls now. Interesting to see what's going to happen with Aaron Donald. I know Rodney Harrison reported in the pregame show that it was possible that he could retire after winning the Super Bowl, so I'm sure he'll come out with something in the next few weeks. And also another guy too that you happy for is Andrew Whitworth, who has battled some injuries, and he's also been talking retirement. He's 40, he'll be 41 next year, so getting up there in age. But happy for all those guys. Hopefully, Bengals can get back there and see if they can finally end up on top. They've also got a young team and good nucleus of guys, and I think they have strong leadership at the top to where they can get back. Obviously, like I said, fix that offensive line. And, yeah, so unfortunately, football season's over until August, so the off-season always promises to be fun and entertaining, so we'll talk more as free agency gets closer to the draft and go from there. So we'll recap my the bets I made for the Super Bowl. I went 3 for 3, or 3 of 6, so 3-3. Excuse me. I had Bengals +4. I thought they would cover. I was a little off on the score. I had 31-28 Rams. Ended up being 23-20, obviously. So Bengals did cover. They covered the +4. I had over on the national anthem that was sung by Mickey Guyton, and I ain't going to lie, I was very nervous when she started that, and she was going real quick. But the last two verses where she was really able to drag it out, and I got the over 140, so that trend continues of overs on the national anthem. I thought it was really well done, well sung. Obviously, heck of a lot better than I could ever do, so I thought that was a great rendition of the national anthem. The other bet that I was able to win was the coin toss. I said it was going to be heads. Was heads. Got that. So happy about that. And I thought I was feeling really good after the Rams took the lead that it was going to be Stafford that was going to win MVP. I thought quarterback, face of the franchise, coming from Detroit. I thought that was going to be his Super Bowl or his MVP to lose. Obviously, give it to Kupp, which is well deserving. Definitely made some plays. That 4th and 1 jet sweep he had a touchdown to start, or second touchdown of the game, and obviously the game-winning touchdown. Had a couple big catch on the game-winning drive. The one where Stafford's not even looking at him, pulls a Pat Mahomes, not looking away and throwing it. Incredible throwing catch. Just speaks to the chemistry that those two have and have built on ever since Stafford was traded to Los Angeles. So would have liked to see Stafford win it, but Kupp was well deserving. You could also argue Aaron Donald was, because he was wreaking havoc. There were a lot of times where he was getting blocked by 3 guys in the Super Bowl, which is incredible, and made the play on defense that clinched the Super Bowl, able to get pressure on Burrow and make him force just a little lob pass to Pirine, and wasn't able to come up with it. And watching it back, he had Chase wide open, but with the pressure that the Rams' defensive line was able to get on Burrow, he didn't see him and had to throw it short. So you could argue Aaron Donald was deserving of that MVP. I wouldn't have argued if he would have won it either, but Kupp gets it. Happy for him. I don't think it was discussed that he was unrecruited out of high school, out of Eastern Washington. 0-1 against the Bison, my alum, my college. So I have to throw that in there. I'm not that I really care too much. I'm just being petty because I had Stafford winning MVP. Did not win the under on the shortest field goal. If Burrow doesn't take that sack after the Stafford interception out of the second half, I think I get that one. And then Gatorade was blue, so good job, Grant. You won that one. And those were, so 3 for 3 overall. On the year for my betting, I ended the year 60-47 total, 33-28 on my NFL bets, and 27-19 in my college bets. So solid year, 56%, which is about average of which most professional gamblers are hitting at. So next year I'm probably going to be at 45%. But overall, happy with the betting season, and hopefully it can build off that. Hopefully as March Madness approaches, we'll see how I do there. I haven't got to start paying more attention to college basketball. But we'll recap, like I said, so bets, and then now talk about the halftime show. I thought it was great. People are saying it was the best halftime show ever. I don't think so. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed 50 Cent. I thought that was awesome. Him kind of being that surprise guest playing into club. I thought that was one of the better rap songs, in my opinion, one of my more favorites. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, thought they were incredible. I love the setup of kind of doing it as a kind of tribute to Compton. Thought that was really cool. I love the floor layout of basically the streets of all the lights and city, which was pretty cool. Kind of hoping there was going to be a Tupac hologram. There wasn't. Or if Tupac would have shown up, but I think that puts to bed if the conspiracy, if he's still alive or not. And Mary J. Blige was really good. Kendrick was all right, I thought. And Eminem, I thought, was really good. Would have been cool to see Eminem show up with a Stafford Lions jersey, but didn't. I thought he was good as well. Overall, it was a good Super Bowl. Commercials, I thought commercials were okay. My favorite one personally was the Chevy electric car with Meadow and AJ Soprano with the Sopranos theme playing. One of my favorite shows, probably one of the greatest shows of all time. The other one I really liked was the Larry David one about the inventions. That one was a good one. I believe it was a crypto ad. The Austin Powers one was good with Dr. Evil. And there was one other one that I really liked that I can't think of right now. But, the Michelob Ultra one with Peyton, Steve Buscemi, Serena, all of them. I thought that was another good commercial. Those were my four that I really, that stick out in my mind. I thought those were my favorite ones for sure. And I didn't get to watch all of them, but those were the four that stick out in my mind. I probably missed them. So if you think of any, please let me know. Leave a comment. And that's all I have for this week. Now that football season's over, we'll be going to one episode per week here on the Gress podcast. I already have next week's guest lined up. We're still working on a date yet, just kind of depending on my schedule, his schedule. So we will post that when we do. So next week, gear up. It'll be excited for this guest. I got to know him a little bit over the summer and definitely has, don't want to say who it is yet, so stay tuned. Thank you for listening to the Gress podcast. Check us out on YouTube, iTunes, Anchor, Spotify. Leave a review, 5 stars, anything like that is appreciated. So thank you again for listening, and we will see you back here next week.